begin by chaining a total of 45 chains. Don't forget to start with a long enough tail for you to weave in your ends at the end of the project. And here we go. Once you've reached 45 chains, you're going to want to start row 1 by making 1 single crochet stitch in the second chain from our crochet hook. And then go ahead and continue that by making 1 single crochet stitch in every chain all the way across. At the very end, we're going to go around to the other side. So go ahead and make 1 single crochet stitch in every stitch across, and I'll meet you at the end to show you what to do next. Great, once you've made it to the very end of row 1, here's what we're going to want to do. In that last stitch we just made, that last single crochet stitch, we're going to turn our work and flip it over so that we will start working on the other side of the foundation row. So beginning with that very first chain, that very first stitch that we made, find the loop that would be the other side of that foundation row chain and make a single crochet stitch. And then continue along this side of the foundation row, making 1 single crochet stitch in every stitch all the way across. You should have the same number of stitches one direction as you did the other. So we should have a total of 44 stitches on one side and 44 stitches on the other, making this a round of a total of 88 stitches. Go ahead and continue across, and I'll meet you at the end to show you what to do next. We've just made it to the very end of round 1 with this last single crochet stitch, and this is what you should be looking at. Oh, it looks great. All right, let's go ahead and move on to round 2. Again, yes, rounds now. We're gonna go ahead and move straight into working in the very first stitch. We are not slip stitching and chaining 1. We're going to work right into that first stitch, making a single crochet stitch in the back loop only. So find that first stitch, then find the back loop and single crochet. For round 2, all we're doing is making a single crochet stitch in the back loop only of every stitch all the way around. So you should end round 2 with a total of 88 single crochet stitches in the back loop only. Once you reach the end of round 2, we're just going to dive right into round 3. So at this point, everything should be a smooth transition. Continue working a single crochet stitch in the back loop only over and over and over again. We're actually going to continue this pattern of working 1 single crochet stitch in the back loop only of every single round through the end of round 20. Go ahead and continue this work. Keep working, you got this, and I will meet you at the end of round 20 to show you what to do next. Okay, so a couple hours later, you're gonna end up with a shape that looks like this. And right off the bat, you're probably gonna think this is not the shape of a pot holder. This is not what I thought I was making. And that's because you're not done. In fact, if you grab a tape measure, you'll see that your measurements are about 14 inches wide by 7 inches tall. And that's good. This is where we want to be because, again, we're not finished yet. In fact, as you are working up your rounds, I want you to start slowing down. As you're getting closer to round 20, I want you to start paying attention to how many stitches are in each round because you're actually going to finish round 20 in the middle of a row or a round. You'll have 44 stitches across one side. You're gonna wanna end at stitch 22 there because that's going to be the corner of our square shape. All right, so just be very mindful of that as you're moving along. Once you get to that stitch number 22, that's when we're going to start actually opening up our pot holder and trying to do the fold, where we fold 2 sides in together to see if they will touch. Now you want to be very careful and have your tape measure handy because something I noticed that is very easy to do is if you don't have 4 equal sides, you might have a rectangle, and with the rectangle shape, you will still manage to get get both sides to touch, but you're not getting that square shape that you desire, that you want. So grab that tape measure, do your fold, make sure the sides touch. If they don't touch, then add a couple more rounds until it touches, and then measure each side. Does each side of your square have the same dimension? If it doesn't, then shift your square, try to realign it so that way you can try to get those 4 equal sides to make your square. Once you know that you have a perfect square where all 4 sides are the same dimension, now we're going to check our corner to see if our stitches are in the actual corner of our square. If you need to back up some stitches because you made too many, you can do that now. If you need to make a couple more to get in that corner spot, then do that now. Don't shift the actual square because now you know all 4 sides are the same. Tie off our work, leave about an 18-inch long tail, or a long enough tail for you to go one direction and then backwards with your same yarn, and then cut the yarn, tie off your work, grab your stitch marker, and let's go ahead and join the 2 sides together to close up this pot holder. To close up the pot holder, we're going to be using the mattress stitch join. Now, honestly, use whatever you want. If you want to use the whip stitch join, then do that. If you want to just keep your crochet hook, keep the loop on your crochet hook and just slip stitch the 2 sides together, if you want to do that, then you can do that. This is your pot holder, so do whatever you want. But for me to have a very clean, seamless, almost invisible join here, I'm going to use the mattress stitch join. To do the mattress stitch join, you're going to take your yarn needle and you're going to insert it from the bottom up, or the back to the front of the back loop only of one side, and then come to the adjacent side or the other side and do the same, going from the bottom to the top or the back to the front of the back loop only of that stitch, and then repeat all the way up. Next, opposite side, bottom to the top or the back to the front of the back loop only, then come to side number 2, adjacent stitch, that should be side to side, bottom to top, back to front of the back loop only. Zigzagged all the way up to the very top to close this join. All right, go ahead and take a second to finish this and I'll meet you at the top. And voila, you have now completed your folded pot holder. And I have to admit, I'm a bit biased when it comes to the mattress stitch join. It's invisible. I think it looks so good, but if you enjoy the whip stitch join or another join method, by all means, do whatever you want. It is your pot holder. Now, for the size of this pot holder, I know it's a bit big, but I like a large pot holder. It makes me feel safe whenever I'm picking up a hot pan. If you would like to make a different size pot holder, maybe something smaller, it all begins with your foundation row chain. Your foundation row chain is going to be the dimension from your upper left-hand corner to your lower right-hand corner. That diagonal line is going to be your foundation row chain. So if your foundation row is 10 inches long, then your dimension from the upper left-hand corner to the lower right-hand corner is going to be 10 inches long, giving you a little perspective. So whatever size that you think is good there, then keep working round after round after round, checking periodically with your fold to see if the 2 sides will touch. Make sure you have your tape measure handy so that way you are making a square and not a rectangle. Now when I tie off, I do this interesting method where I just put a loop over my finger, hold it back, insert my yarn needle back into the work. Then I take the loop that's on my finger and I twist it. take the yarn needle and go underneath the loop and through, and then I slowly pull the loop closed so that way I can guide it to where I want it to close and I'm not just going fast and the knot lands wherever the knot lands. And then when it comes to me weaving in my ends, just in case you need a little help, I really like weaving in one direction, usually under stitches, above stitches, and through stitches, where my yarn needle will actually go through the plies so that the fibers will cling to each other. I'll go about 3 inches one way, or half the tail length that I have on my yarn needle one direction, and then I will double backwards, going over the loop that I ended so I don't undo everything I just did, and then again going under loops, over loops, and through loops all the way back. And then I know, or I feel comfortable, confident that my tail is secure and not going anywhere. Cut off the remaining yarn and your project's done. I hope you love it. I hope you make a bunch. Play with colors, play with sizes, make some for yourself, gift some away, have fun with it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.